Welcome to Terry's Corner. Today I'm about to tell a fun story of a true event. It's going to capsulize in your mind's eye how lucky I've been in my whole life. Really a lot of fun. In between my sophomore and junior year in high school, I worked as a sickle swinger, mowing the grass on the sides of the highways. Long before there were weed whackers, there were young guys and gals that walked along the side of the highway and whacked down grass with a sickle. That was me. 20 or 30 miles a day along Route 128, all summer long. Stayed pretty skinny back in those days. On this one particular morning, my friend John O'Malley, who picked me up, worked at the Boston Fire Department and moonlighting as a grass mower. He drove the tractor and I walked behind him. Here's where the story really gets interesting. Picks me up at 9 o'clock one morning, much later than our normal start time at 5:30. It's Friday. We're on our way up to Concord, Massachusetts. Cutting through Dedham from Hyde Park, going down 109. As we zip onto the on-ramp to Route 128 on 109, on our way just short of Needham, I noticed a cemetery flag on the side of the road. You have to understand, we found a lot of crazy stuff on the side of the road. $100 bills, $50 bills, stuff blew out of cars. It was really cool finding neat stuff along the side of the road. Anyhow, so I thought this flag would look perfect on John's truck. We had to stop for gas anyhow up the road on 128, so I told him to stop. He stopped the truck immediately. I sprang out of the truck, jumped over the guardrail, grabbed the flag, and as I looked, I noticed a brand new white Samsonite suitcase. We found wacky stuff all the time. Probably blew out of a car. Somebody was hitchhiking. So I just snatched up the suitcase and bolted back in the car. Back in those days at $1.65 and 6 foot tall, I was pretty fast. Back in the truck, boom. What's the first thing you do when you find a suitcase? Flap the latches. What was in that suitcase? Well over $125,000. In 1974, that probably been like $1 million. To me, my first thought was, take me to the Cadillac shop because we're getting some new cars. To John O'Malley, who's about 56, getting close to retirement and always worried about the mafia, he thinks it's mafia money. So he steps on the gas, drives down 128, going about 90 in a 1957 blue Chevy truck, cuts across 4 lanes of grass into the gas station, and he says, we're turning this money in, it's mafia money. I said, okay, I'll sit with the money, go make the phone call. 1974, no selfies, no phones, we had no phone booth, no nothing. He went in, asked to borrow the phone, put his finger in the dial, couldn't operate the rotary phone. Called him back over, had the gas station guy go over and dial 911. When the phone receiver clicked down, a helicopter landed beside my beautiful beater truck, and 2 men, looking like the Men in Black, snatched that suitcase from my paws. As I noticed, the helicopter had 3 letters typed on it, FBI. Not only did they snatch the suitcase, they snatched me and John for a trip to FBI headquarters. FBI headquarters? 17, rising junior? Sounded pretty exciting. We had no idea. There was no newscast, no nothing. We didn't know what had happened. We don't know where the money came from. We get to FBI headquarters. We stroll in. On the way in, John covers his head like he's the bank robber. I just stroll in. We tell them the story. We tell them what happened. They understand the story. They drive us back to our truck. And like every hard-working kid in Boston, you know what I did that day? I went to work. Mowed the grass along the side of the highway. Not only did I finish working that day, then we had to go pick eggs and corn up in Concord, New Hampshire to make a couple extra bucks on the side. We got back to my 159 Austin Street house in Hyde Park. There were news reporters camped in front of my house. They wanted to interview us. At this point, we finally got to understand what the story was. So here's what really happened. I'm going to go fast so you don't have to listen too long. The Friends of Eddie Coyle is an old movie in Boston. It's about Charlestown and Southie. It's a bank robbing group. What they do is they case the bank, in this instance, Needham Bank. They fall in love with the bank president. What they do is they want a bank president that lives close to the bank so that they can kidnap him, send him to the bank, kidnap his wife and child, tell him to scoop up the money, drop it at the flag, and that's how the bank robbery goes down. What we believe happened was, as he dropped the money, we pulled in right behind him. We scooped up the money, and before they could come down off the hill to get the money, it was in the truck driving down 128. Not much of a bank foiled robbery by me, but we were pretty fast back in those days. The story ends when I have to go and sit in front of the grand jury when they finally catch these 4 robbers. They had, exactly as I said, followed the script to the Friends of Eddie Coyle to the 9s, and they're doing some time in jail. I suspect they're out by now, but we got a reward. It was a fun day in court in front of the grand jury. You can imagine I had them laughing a little bit, telling the story about finding the money. But that's the true story. You can look it up.